Every once in a while, there's a couple people that have that internal body clock. They know where north is. They know what direction they're going all the time. And I make that analogy of there's always somebody, there has to be a leader that gets the troops going. And if I'm the leader, if I'm the guy, or if I'm the girl and I go, that's north, let's go this way, and everybody doesn't go, or if a couple of people take off and go a different direction, now we got problems. So I really talk about being grounded and focusing on your true north.
You are now listening to the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as the Going North podcast, you're in for a treat, my friends. You're in for a treat good enough to eat, as in for your brain, that is, because my goodness, this wonderful gentleman right here, we got one heck of a rock star for today, folks, because this wonderful gentleman right here teaches organizations of all sizes, you heard that right, folks, from 10 to 10,000, how to attain their own rock star status. And he'll definitely be having your whole staff playing air guitar, or at least one of them who has good enough common sense to do so. And he has an illustrious career that started at the Gatorland Zoo in Florida, and he even has scars to prove it. And he became a middle school teacher before cutting his teeth in the hospitality training industry, and then eventually leading him to leading the global training for Hard Rock International for 2 decades. You heard that right, folks, 2 decades. His customized programs show how to amp up organizational culture, deliver world-class differentiated service, and build rock star teams and leader. So let's give it up for the spiky hair savior himself, Jim Knight. How you doing today, Jim?
I feel like I need to come out to some with that introduction. Hey, first off, thanks, Dom. I really appreciate it. And even just calling me a rock star just makes me grin from ear to ear. I'm a rock star in my own head, but I think you're the rock star, man. I'm so excited to be on Going North. Thank you.
Hey, man, I'm excited for you too, my man. Like, dude, like, hey, been with the Hard Rock Company for over 2 decades, man.
Yeah.
Been doing that, and heck, even. So out of curiosity, the scars. So did the gators bite you because someone was trying to turn them into shoes and he thought it was you?
Well, it actually was, believe it or not, a working gator farm. So part of it was they made shoes and handbags and all that out of the hide, and we used all the gator meat. Like they would put that out there. I actually worked in the snack bar where I would eat alligator meat almost every single day. It was a good gig though. I drove a little miniature train. I sold fish so that people could feed the alligators. But the area where I got my scar, and I know people can't see it, but I'll show you. It's right on my knuckle there. It wasn't from an alligator. It's from a big boa constrictor snake. So I worked in this area. Yeah, I worked in an area that was a photo area. Back in the day, I'm going back 35, 40 years now, we would have Polaroid pictures, and I would have to jump into a small little alligator pit that had about 30 alligators, but they were small, about 2 feet long, close their mouth if I could capture one, wrap some duct tape around them, and that way people could hold on to them while we take their picture. The second part is I had to go into this big cage to get one of these big, massive boa constrictors so that we could put it around your neck. And just one morning, who knew, I went and grabbed one, and the snake didn't like that and swung around, and its tooth went in my knuckle. Now they're not venomous, but they still got big sharp teeth, and I yanked it out and pulled that snake's tooth out. So I actually got in trouble for that. But yeah, while I was sitting there bleeding on my hand. So I do have scars to prove. My first job in hospitality was at Gatorland Zoo. Yeah.
So you got in trouble because you're trying to protect your life. Okay.
Exactly. Come on. How does that work? I don't understand it, but that's all right.
Oh my goodness. That means we have some true Floridian swag in here, baby. Not a transplant.
I do. Hey, I will say this, anybody that comes to Central Florida, which is where I'm from, Gatorland Zoo is like one of the best places to go. I mean, it's only like $14. You can get it all in a half a day. It's really a good value compared to all the other, there's something like 25 theme parks in Central Florida. So there you go. There's my one plug for my first job, Gatorland Zoo.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Well, I'll tell my good buddy Claude Milton about it. He likes to refer to himself as a true Floridian, and he has a lot of family down in Florida. So
Oh yeah. Well, there's not too many of us left. Honestly, a lot of people move into Florida for a variety of reasons, but to find an actual born and raised Floridian, they're rare to come by.
that's right. That's right. It's like the real diamond compared to the cubic zirconia. That's right.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, there is no difference. It might look a little bit alike, but no.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of radiance and random shiny jewels, my man became a jewel himself. So my goodness, I'm pretty sure you know with all introduction not allowed to be like 5,000 days long. So mind filling in any cavities I may have missed, because I'm pretty sure I've missed like probably 57 different points to go from.
Well, you got the big ones, the tent poles. After my first job at Gatorland, I actually went to school to be a musician. So I wanted to be a rock star. But I think when you go to get a music degree, and my voice was very, I would say, classically trained. So it's choral, it's church music, kind of like opera. So I could do a wedding or a funeral if I had to. I'll do a Lord's Prayer. I could do an Ave Maria, but that wasn't exactly the cool, sexy, music gig that I thought I was going to have. And even now, a lot of my friends are musicians. They tend not to let me come up on stage because, I'm not going to sound like I'm on the radio, unfortunately. So anyway, I do have my music degree. And I found out that while I was at college, to actually make a living doing that, you had to be good. So I changed careers, and I became a middle school teacher. Dom, they say those that can't do teach. So that's what I did. I went and taught for 6 years, and I loved doing that. Back then, my hair did not go up. It wasn't spiky like it is now. It went down. I had a mullet, 2.5 feet long hair. And I was shocked that they let me in the public school system in a big long ponytail to teach these kids. And I had a long dangling 80s earring. It was a racket, man. It was great. But I liked that job. That was cool. And then I started to think, well, maybe I could combine the two and be a music teacher. But along the way, in the summertime, as you know, educators and teachers, they don't make any money in the summer. And so I took a little summer job at Hard Rock, literally seating tables. I was just a host, and very quickly became a trainer. And then they asked me to go do some openings. And next thing you know, I'm in Paris. I'm opening up Hard Rocks in Mexico City and Atlanta and Nashville and everywhere else, and just sort of made a little bit of a career for me. And then I decided to grow up and be a manager. I did that for a year in Orlando. Now you have to remember, in Orlando, that Hard Rock Cafe, if anybody's been there, is one of the busiest restaurants in the world. And we pump, I don't know, about 7,000 people a day through that thing, doing $30,000 hours, which is, for people not in hospitality, that's unheard of. Restaurants don't do that at all. And so in a building that does $43 million, your head gets big real fast, your skills get really sharp. And I wanted it to be a career. And I went over to the Corporate Sports Center and joined the training team, and ultimately ran that thing. So in my 21 years I was there, I was head of training and development for 16 of those years, just opening up Hard Rock cafes, hotels, and casinos all over the planet. So I had a blast doing it. And then pretty much what I'm doing now, I left Hard Rock about 10 years ago to do this, to be a professional keynote speaker and an author and a podcaster and a book marketer. Those are kind of the 4 things that I now do on a daily basis. So I've had a great, awesome, long and winding road. I'm not going to lie. It's been nirvana for me.
It's very occasional when someone says it's actually been nirvana for them. That's freaking awesome, dude. I gotta commend you for that, my man.
Well, thank you. It is tough for some people, isn't it? And I know there are people right now listening that are like, they're probably throwing stuff right now, whenever they're listening to the show, because they're probably not in their dream job and they're frustrated, or maybe they've been furloughed or let go. Like, I get it. It is really tough for me to spend a lot of time sort of sulking in that sort of mindset. I know that people are out there, and I don't want to, disregard that at all. I just know that I've really just tried to make my own luck and make things happen, and knock on wood, so far, I've had a great, illustrious career. And I think I'm doing what I'm doing right now is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. So God willing, this is what I'm going to do.
Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. Rock on indeed. Rock on indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So from a 2.5 foot long mullet ponytail to freaking spiky hair. Like,
Yes.
my goodness. So with educators, like it's a tough job and it really takes a lot of grit to be able to do that because I'm pretty sure not only being able to teach young children, especially in middle school, and then being able to keep with all the lesson plans, taking on summer youth, summer
Yep.
jobs, and all the other good stuff. Like, what's probably been the two biggest lessons you learned from that time as a middle school teacher?
Yeah, middle school was perfect for me. When I started, I was a substitute teacher. So for anybody that's ever done that before, and almost anybody can do it, you do a background check, but you could go and do high school, elementary, whatever you want to in the public system in almost any state. But what I learned is, elementary was really, I don't know, it was a little bit too low for me to have that mentality all day. And high school, I'm a pretty short guy and I'm a youthful looking guy. So the students all looked older than me. And I knew I was going to get in trouble. I was either going to have some girl hit on me or some dude beat me up. So I was like, high school is not for me. Middle school, I was just smarter than they were. They were basic fundamental classes, but I did learn a couple things from it. First off, the point I was making earlier is I'm thinking I love performing. I did a bunch of community theater. I was singing. Now I'm in front of students. And instead of, I guess you would think, Dom, like if you had a substitute teacher, it's like free day, right? They're not going to really do anything. They might put their head on the table or it's just watch a movie or whatever. I actually taught whatever the teacher was supposed to do that day. Like I followed the lesson plan. So they loved me. So they kept calling me to come back. So it was a fun way for me to perform, if you will, that I would get up there and be in front of the students. But what I learned is now I'm going back about 30 years. I really did think that there was a good percentage of kids at that time that wanted to learn. And I'm going to say something that might be controversial. It just seemed that, and I do believe everything is learned behavior. I think you learn everything from your parents, from school, from the playground, from your friends, from religion, from lack of religion, whatever it is, you learn everything. So that by the time you get to be an adult and you want a job, you are the way you are. And if your natural disposition isn't to, smile and have a good personality, that's going to be a problem for me if I'm an employer. So I saw something back then about 3 decades ago that there were a lot of kids that were really getting great values that were taught by their parents. And so I felt like it was, there were still some troublemakers. There's no doubt about it. In fact, I became a dean of students. So I was in charge of in-school suspension. I don't know if they have that where you are, but you get in trouble in one class, you have to come to this one. And it's just not fun. You just sit there all day long. And I remember there weren't that many at that time where you start to fast forward. There are still kids, I'm sure, that really want to learn and they're getting good parenting values, but I think it's getting fewer and fewer and fewer. So I think the lesson that I learned is there is something really solid about early on education. And, it's unfortunate. The parents aren't going to do it. The school kind of has to. But man, if you can surround yourself with good friends, or again, maybe religion is your thing, you can get involved in that. I think you got a shot at really having a heart and having that work ethic and the mindset that I talk about in some of my talks in my book. But man, I'm not going to lie, it's probably getting harder and harder when unfortunately the parents have a lot going on and they dump it on the school and the teachers necessarily aren't teaching life skills anymore. So I think that's kind of where I would end on that question is there was something about people getting life skills back then. I will say this. I have a good friend of mine who has a frozen dessert concept right now in Chicago. And, she hires all young kids. They're all Gen Z now at this point, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. I can tell you for a fact, they struggle with counting money, with making
Mhm.
eye contact, with using a mop, with looking up and smiling, by, getting off their technology. And so she made a decision that I could do one of two things: either get really frustrated, go, nope, you're out of here, and go and hire somebody else, or make their first job their right job. And so she just took on the mindset, this sucks because the parents aren't teaching them. I'm going to have to teach them these life skills. But you know what? They're going to remember this business, this brand, me as a leader fondly when they go on to do something, whatever it is their profession is. And some of them have done that and then come back to be managers because they remember what she did for them. So, I think the mindset, you fast forward 30, 40 years, it's a little bit different now, unfortunately.
Okay, I can say that again. That's really a big missing piece that's really going on today. And that's probably why things are in the state of affairs that they are today, because somewhere down the line we got lazy and we
Yeah.
focused more on technology. And it's like, hey, technology is like, it can be good and it can be bad. It's like a gift of the curse. It's like
Yeah.
it's good. It's also bad if you use it for the wrong thing. You use the TV to raise your kids and all that
Yeah.
lackadaisical stuff. But that's kind of what's led to what we have today. And now it's like, oh crap, we have to go back and really fix some things, starting with like brick by brick today. So,
It's
solid
the
point.
truth. You know, and you make a great point too. I think it's not just the phone, but let's say social media too. I
Hmm.
do know there are people that have just sworn off being on any social media site because they
Hmm.
can't stand the stuff that they see, which, by the way, these are your people. You've invited them. These are your friends. So what you see is, to me, your own fault. I love technology and I use social media for good. Like, I get on there and I can stay in touch with my parents, my grandparents, my kids, my friends. I know what's going on. But if I ever got to the point that there was somebody frustrating, they're off of social media, not me bailing on it. So I really do think that, if, to your point, if we can get them early enough and we can teach kids, there's a balance. If you want to be on your phone, that's cool. A couple hours a day. Being on it 16, 17 hours a day and not interacting with the rest of the world, it's only going to do you an injustice at some point when you get out into the real world. So I look at it as a force for good, but I get it. There are just some people, it's a little bit too late in the game to sort of change your stripes at this point.
Heck yeah, I can say that again. And it's so true. Like we like to be like, oh, Facebook's toxic, it's crazy,
Only
political
if you want it
stuff.
to be. Only if you
Ex-
want it to be.
exactly. That's the thing, because you choose what you really want to see. They have a snooze button. If you want to snooze someone for 30 days, you can defriend them.
Yep.
And you can always choose to like pages. If you get invited to join 500 groups a day, you can just ignore all the invites and just really choose who you want to follow. You have
Exactly.
options.
Exactly. Hey, Dom, are you on Clubhouse?
Oh yeah, I'm on Clubhouse. I probably need to be better at it though.
Yeah. Same here. I don't have our own room. We're going to start setting that up. But I'll tell you, I love that sort of intimate feeling of just listening in and being part of a conversation, and sometimes getting access or asking questions of people you would never get access to. I just think it's brilliant. And that, boy, that during the pandemic, especially in the last 4 months, that thing has blown up. There's a lot of cool things going on there.
Heck yeah, I can say that again. Heck, even got a pretty awesome podcast guest last month because of Clubhouse.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, by the way, but that's fine.
Yeah. Saw your email a few weeks after this.
Yes, yes.
But hey, it's all good. And it just really just depends on like deciding where your attention goes with that too, because it's like, well, because we only have a certain amount of time and we
Yeah.
only have so much attention to give certain things. But what we really should be giving attention to is this super special, awesome new book that you have. If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
Leadership That Rocks, right?
Yeah. It's called Leadership That Rocks. And just the pre-order came out. The tagline on there is "Take your brand's culture to 11 and amp up results." It is, it's a thin paperback book, but I know your audience might not be able to see. I actually had a first book that came out about 9 years ago called Culture That Rocks, but it's a hardcover. It's color on the inside. It's heavy as I'll get out. And I took some friends' advice. They actually said that I probably had 2, 3 books in that thing. It's dense because I really, honestly, I thought I only had one book in me. I came out of the hard rock world. I wanted to be a speaker, but I thought I'd like to have a book. It does help when it comes to having some credibility and your speaker fees, and you've got all this knowledge you want to share with the world. So I said, I'll do that. I put it into the one book that was Culture That Rocks. And what I learned is that there was some main huge tenets in there, like leadership and customer service and employee engagement. So now every year, this year in about a month, May 18th, that Leadership That Rocks is the first one in the series. So I'm deconstructing the first one into 3 smaller, black and white, thinner, cheaper books. And what's cool about that is, because a decade has gone by, it allows me to really update a lot of the stories and talk about some of the brands that I fall madly in love with. If you have a business crush on someone and you just can't share it anymore, unless it's a blog or in a speech or something, you have nowhere to put it. So it gives me an opportunity to make it a 2.0, if you will. But realistically, it's also for people that maybe hire me for my leadership talk And that program, they might want to buy that book. And then next year they'll bring me back for a different topic. They could get another book. So this year, yep, it's leadership that rocks. The next year will be service that rocks. And then in 2023, we'll have engagement that rocks. So who knows? I think that's probably it. Those will be the 4 books that I'll have out there, but that's pretty much enough to say grace over.
Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Core 4 would be like a 4-pack of abs, baby. That's right.
That's right. That's right. I got a 1-pack ab right now. It's not, that ab's not looking good. I'll tell you though, thanks for asking about it, because I think it's going to be great and I wrote it for new and up and coming leaders. So it's not really at the CEO level, not this one. I always thought there was a little bit of a gap when you became a manager or a leader for the first time, taking over a department or a group of people or a budget. Being a staff member to becoming a manager, that's a big leap for some people. And somebody saw that in you. And I still thought there's not a lot of great stuff that gives fundamental leadership. And again, I talk about work ethic. I talk about having a little bit of an air of humility at times. You don't always have to be the superhero or the loud, grandiose, over the top rock star like I tend to get sometimes. I think you can be humble. And there's a time to bring the thunder, but you can also step back and listen and learn from people. And who knows, you might actually have your mind changed. And I just remember some of the greatest leaders in my life that were able to do that. I talk about mentorship. I think that's an underused word these days. And I guarantee you, I am not where I am. I'm not doing what I'm doing if I did not have somebody. Now I had a couple, but somebody that helped me out. Maybe they were inside the company, but they were smarter than me. And I could go to them and vent and share and bounce ideas off of them. I had an outside the company mentor that had nothing to do with the business. So they didn't have any, other than the fact that they liked me, they loved on me, they cared about what was going to happen, but they didn't know anything about the business. I loved that mentor. I had a peer mentor. I have a significant other mentor that I could bounce ideas off of. And I even talk about you mentoring other people. I do think there's something like reverse mentorship, where you might be teaching, let's say, a millennial or Gen Z, which is about to come into the workforce now. And you know what? I'm learning a lot from them as well. So I do talk about mentorship and humility and how to be a catalyst for change. These are all big things. And of course, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, I just think everything is predicated on human behavior. So if you really want to take your brand's culture to 11, if you want to be at that rock icon status, you got to go and find some awesome people, man. You have got to surround yourself with as many rock stars and as few lip syncers as you can find. You do that, you'll have an unbelievable culture, no doubt.
I love that one, lip syncers.
Hey man, the lip syncer, I can't stand them. They will be revealed at some point. They will be revealed.
R.I.P. one of the members of Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, yes. There's still one out there. I've seen him perform every once in a while, but yeah. It's not too late to talk about Milli Vanilli, right? They've been gone like 25 years. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And even though it was some lip sync and it wasn't the original voice, it's still freaking good. Like that's the thing. Like
exactly.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, and who's the Ashley Simpson? You remember on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
Same thing. But she's a great singer. She just got caught lip syncing that time. And so, when that happens, when you get revealed, when you get unmasked, it's tough to bring your career back. I get it. But that was also her real voice. So it isn't like they're not talented. It's just, people just love authenticity these days.
Heck yeah. So there we go. That could be a tagline if it's not already. Don't lip sync through life.
That's it. I love it. I love it. Let's make some t-shirts, you and I. We'll make some money.
There we go. Yeah, that's right. The JK and the DB, baby.
That's it. Right. That's it.
Make them guitar shapes too.
Yes. Oh, I forgot. Now that you say that, I forgot to tell you, there is an audio version of my first book, and it's shaped like a rock and roll hand. It's a USB key. You plug it in and you can listen to the book on audio. So people can't see it on the audio version, but it's a little rock and roll hand USB. That's some branding right there, my friend.
I remember seeing a picture of that. That is freaking awesome.
Great. Awesome.
Awesome. I freaking love this guy. Like, definitely pick up both of his books, The Culture That Rocks, as well as Leadership That Rocks, folks. Definitely pick up both of them. So that way you can get it all in your mind. Let it soak in there. Let it marinate. Then you can throw it out in the barbecue later in terms of taking action. That's right.
Yeah. Put some barbecue sauce on it. Work those books like a rib.
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened.
Don't worry. Good stuff happened. Good stuff happened indeed. So my goodness. So my man went from basically at the beginning of the Hard Rock Cafe career, it was just a summer job and just basically
Yeah.
waiting tables to all the way at the top, like global training. So how was that entrepreneurial journey, man? Because I feel like everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but there may be also some folks listening to the show who are trying to go the entrepreneurial route because they're like, man, I don't feel like taking all that responsibility. That's why my paycheck can go the heck home.
Well, there is that. And I don't, I would never say anything bad about somebody who wants to do that at Hard Rock. Now I've been gone from that brand 9.5, 10 years, but some of the original servers, the original waitress is still there 50 years later.
Oh,
They didn't
wow.
want to be a manager. They didn't want to run some big department. They just wanted to serve people. And so, I think that's awesome. But I will say entrepreneurship, that life is awesome. It really does rock when you can work for yourself. It's not for everybody. I had never worked for myself, but I do think before I got to that point, maybe this is also a difference. I don't want to say in an entire generation. I don't want to throw an entire workforce under the bus, but those that want to come right out of school and jump into owning something and being an entrepreneur, if you can do it, you should totally do it. And that's great. But if you're expecting it to happen and you're just sort of lackadaisical and sitting back on your laurels, this is the problem because I don't think they really understand that mindset of what hard work looks like and what dealing with other people looks like. And so I think I was just lucky that I had some really cool jobs. I had some killer parents where I got to the point that when I finally said a decade ago, I'm going to springboard off. I know it's on the deep end. I've been used to an awesome salary. I love my Hard Rock job. I'm traveling the world, looking the way I want to look, saying what I want to say, meeting celebrities on the other side of the planet. That's pretty dadgum cool. I'm going to give that up. But the reality is I wanted to go vertical. I wanted to get into other industries. I wanted to not just be known in hospitality. I wanted to rock people's world in real estate and insurance and banking and funeral directors and clowns and wherever people gather, like that's where I wanted to get. And so I knew that I had to make that leap. So my journey, it was really about once I made that leap, you do have to think differently. My body clock shifted about 3 hours. So now you sleep in, but you stay up till 2, 3 in the morning. And then it starts getting broader because when you own something, you're in it, man. You're in it 18, 20 hours and your mind just can't stop. But you got to think about putting on your big boy and big girl clothes. You can't just sit around in your pajamas all day. Like you actually got to take a shower, get dressed, go meet somebody. If it's at a cafe or a restaurant, when we get back to being at restaurants, wherever you are that you're listening, all that stuff is really important. But for me, there is nothing greater than not having a boss and you getting to decide your own destiny and write your own ticket. And maybe starting off, you're bootstrapping the thing, you're not making as much money, but I can tell you, I make probably 5, 6 times what I would have made if I stayed at Hard Rock. And so when you can get to that level, there's never going back. I'm never working for anybody ever again. It's not in the cards for me. And now I have a book marketing company with one of my business partners named Brent Manswar, and he and I work feverishly. We're both workaholics. I love, love, love to work, but we're helping authors extend the reach of their book all over the planet. And so for me, that's pretty exciting because now I'm not just making money, I'm helping other people. I actually have a service and a product that is helping people. So I don't know. I'm getting giddy just thinking about it, man. I appreciate the question, but entrepreneurship, if you can do it, it's fantastic. It's not for everybody. If you just want the paycheck, you want to go home, have enough to take care of the kids and pay the bills and have a drink every once in a while, go for it. There are other people, their dreams are just bigger. And what they're doing now might be a stepping stone, but they're going to crush whatever it is that they create or own or be a franchisee or whatever it is down the road. And I applaud that.
Heck yeah, that's right. Crush it, you create. That's right, baby. That's right. Just crush it. That's right. It's like you got all the affinity stones. Just crush it.
I
I
got
don't
all of
know.
them. I got all 6. About to snap that finger.
There you
I mean,
go,
if I snap
folks.
my fingers, I guess we get rid of half the people. That's not good.
Don't do that. I love my
Yeah.
listeners now.
I don't want to eliminate half of humanity. Hey, I will tell you this though, Dom. During my programs, I don't do this all the time, but I do this whole exercise about having people stand up and to close their eyes, and I have them point to where they think north is. So it's kind of appropriate on this Going North podcast, because I would have them point, and their hands are all over the place, because usually when they're in a conference, in a room that they don't know, a ballroom at some city they've never been to, their hands are all over. They're totally guessing. But then I'll bring out my phone or a compass and I can show them where north is. And so I'm trying to make a point, because once you start saying, if you got it right, you can keep standing, everybody else sit down. And boy, you'll only get about 10% that are still standing. And out of that group, the majority of them were totally guessing. Every once in a while, there's a couple of people that have that internal body clock. They know where north is. They know what direction they're going all the time. And I make that analogy of, there's always somebody, there has to be a leader that gets the troops going. And if I'm the leader, if I'm the guy, or if I'm the girl, and I go, that's north, let's go this way, and everybody doesn't go, or if a couple of people take off and go a different direction, now we got problems. So I really talk about being grounded and focusing on your true north. So I just knew, and I had the invite to be on Going North. It was the podcast for me, man. So I really appreciate you just giving me a little bit of a highlight, particularly on the book too. That warms my soul, man. So thank you.
Hey, my pleasure indeed. That's my mission. At least one of them. Definitely help out fellow authors, because hey, the written word is where it's at. It outlives
That's
us.
right. It does. It does. It's legacy leaving stuff, isn't it? I love it.
Heck yeah, that's right. Leaving all the legacies, baby. That's right. Making sure it's nice and shiny. That's right. Some wax on, wax off goodness. Extra shiny.
Yes. We went from Infinity War to Mr. Miyagi. We've covered it all. We've covered it all today.
That's right. Covered it like a blanket indeed. So, and speaking of coverings, I'm pretty sure I forgot some things, or heck, this isn't your first rodeo. So, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game on these podcasts?
I'm surprised we didn't talk about my hair, because I got this spiky hair. I do tend to get that. It's like, what kind of hair care products do you use to keep that stuff up? They can't see me right now, but if you're listening, if you go and check out my hair, it's probably, I don't know, about 2.5 inches high, right? This is a short haircut. It's usually an inch higher. So yeah. I'm surprised you didn't ask me that. That was it. No, I honestly, we covered a lot of the stuff. And I'm also a fellow podcaster, and I'd love to have you on our show at some point. We have something called Thoughts That Rock, and Brant and I do that. And we really only ask 2 questions. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? And how did that change your life? And we'll get into a lot of other stuff, but that's it. And so we've been very lucky to have some pretty well-known people on there, because it's a low entry way to get into a podcast. And I know that's another great way to grow your own podcast, is to be on others. So, I'd love to reciprocate and have you on there at some point. But yeah, usually it's my hair care products. That's what they miss out on.
I figured I already said spiky haired savior in the intro, so maybe I probably should have asked, baby.
Yes. You can still keep it in there. I need to find a glue sponsor. That's what I need. I need a glue sponsor for my hair. That's what I need to work on.
Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, Gorilla Glue. All right. All right. Maybe I'll work on my own. You work on the t-shirts, I'll work on the glue. We'll ride off into the sunset together.
No, don't do that to yourself. The hair's good. It's great already.
Thanks, brother.
Especially if you decided to make it blonde just to make the anime folks happy.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, it's a freaking Super Saiyan. He wasn't kidding.
Yes. Hey, if I start doing that, I'm afraid people are going to confuse me with Guy Fieri. I'll get that. Which would be nothing wrong. I wish I had Guy Fieri money, but if I make my hair blonde, now we're going to get confusion.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Guy Fieri. Love that guy. Good dude. Definitely a good dude indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So my man has got all these skills. My man's basically like a weapons arms dealer, like with the branding, the leadership, the culture that rocks indeed. Like heck, even life that boulders, like a life that rocks so hard, become a freaking boulder. My goodness.
Yes.
So with all of this wonderful knowledge, with all of this wonderful knowledge, I have to say, what would probably be 3 things that you would give advice wise to those who want to become entrepreneurs, since we kind of went to the entrepreneurial space and you're able to do that for yourself and still alive to tell the tale 10 years later?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We sort of alluded to it earlier. I would start with just having a mindset that you're going to be working hard. I wish before you do it that you've had some job where you've actually had to, bend over backwards and sweat a little bit. And, I'm not talking about physically, but it might be physically, mentally, whatever it is, so that you know what work ethic is like. I think that's probably mission critical, number one. Two, if you do have the ability that you can survive financially without having to rely on somebody else, or you've got just a tiger by the tail of an idea, that's when I would say, don't wait, jump right in. I think entrepreneurs, they rock. And I think it's awesome. And it's great for the country. It's great for the world. It's great for your own spirit. And I would say people that are maybe working in a job. So this would probably be the most important one. I get a lot of questions. If I'm a new manager or a middle manager, I don't really have any responsibility. Maybe they don't even manage people right now. Do I really make a difference in the culture? I get that a lot, especially if I'm doing my culture program. And I say you can. I think everybody can absolutely make a dent, positively or negatively, in an organization's culture. And I think if you've got awesome ideas, you got to invite yourself to the party. You got to somehow get yourself invited to the party, somehow talk to your boss, do some upward delegation, maybe every once in a while get in an executive meeting, whatever it is. I really believe that a single person with a great idea can start a revolution. And that's how dictators are overthrown. That's how philanthropic movements are started. That's how company cultures get amped up. So if you're like that, if you've got that mindset working in a job, you're probably an entrepreneur in waiting. So again, it's hard work. Don't wait if you've got, this gumption that you can do it and you can financially get away with it. But then the last part is, if you've got some great ideas, you got to share it. You got to get in the game and share it, either at your company or get about doing what you can to change the world. We need stuff like that more than ever before. So, some of those are some hard skills, and others there's just, it's a mindset. You either decide that things happen to you or they happen for you. And if they happen for you, it's just part of your journey, man. Your long and winding road is going to take you exactly where you want. And being an entrepreneur is just so cool. I would recommend it if you can do it.
There you have it, folks. If you can do it, if you have that can and a mountain, you can do it, baby. That's right. That's right, indeed.
That's right. That's right. I like it. I think we've got like 6 t-shirts in us now.
That's right. Rock on like all the boulders, baby. That's right. Oh my goodness. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2021, with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Yeah, I wish that I had I wish I was a little bit slower to get angry. And I wouldn't say that I was an angry young kid all the time. I just know that I would get frustrated. I would get impatient super quick. I was a hardcore test given trainer, teacher. If people were 5 minutes late coming into work and I was in control of them as a trainer, I'd send them home. If they were getting lower than a 90%, they had to take the test again. Like, I was that kind of guy. Well, when you work in a corporate environment, which I was doing at 25 years old, you could get away with that. When you work in a franchise community where they don't have to listen to you at all, it's totally by choice. You have no stick at all. It's all carrot. It's throwing your arms around people and loving on them and showing them the way that if they did this best practice, cooler things are going to happen, versus you will do this or else. So I just think, not that I was like this, but I had a little bit of an air about me at times, that instead of trying to muscle the result and manage, although I didn't have to get to this point, I know people that I worked for that tried to manage through threats and punishment and fear. Those days are long gone. Some young kid, they're not going to put up with it. They'll just be like, and they'll go somewhere else to somebody right up the road. So I wish that I wasn't as hard as I was as a teacher or trainer. I wish I had a little bit more laughter, a little bit more, I think, joy in learning. And again, thinking I might have a different opinion than you, but I can learn from you. And I might actually have my mind changed. And maybe the word that would come down to it is patience. I wish I would have had a little bit more patience like I do now. I'm way easygoing right now than I was 25 years ago. There's no doubt about it. So if I could go back, that's probably the one thing I would focus on.
Ah, a good thing to focus on, indeed, because it's so true, especially nowadays where behaviors are totally different than what they were decades ago, and people have a low tolerance for stuff compared to before. So patience is a must.
It is. It is. It really, really is.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's right. It rocks so hard that he gives advice that rocks. Heck, that's probably book number 5, Advice That Rocks.
Yes. 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 We'll be co-authors on it. I like it.
Yeah. There we go. It'll be Team DJ, baby, or JD, whichever one comes
Yeah,
first.
yes. Yes. We don't have to go alphabetical. I could do DJ.
Oh, good, because they don't need us thinking that we're lawyers. Like, so y'all like lawyers? It says JD. Like, wait,
Yes.
no, it's just Jim and Dom. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, for those who want some more magical goodness that rocks, want to check out that magical podcast and all the stuff that Jim is doing. Heck, maybe even bring you on and become a future client of yours or your book marketing company with your buddy. What's the best way for folks to reach out to you, Jim?
Yeah, I probably have 5 or 6 websites, but I'm only going to give you the one because it's really all roads lead to my main website, which is Night Speaker. So it's my last name, KNIGHT, nightspeaker.com. And you can see all the stuff that you talked about in there. I will say the book marketing company, which is unbelievable, is called Bookstar PR. So if you go to Bookstar PR, you can see that. If you're a budding author or you're thinking about writing a book, we can help you push it out. But really, my main website's where you can get all that information. And again, I can't thank you enough, Don, for having me on the show. This has been a lot of fun, man. Thank you for that.
Woohoo! Well, that's the goal indeed. So there you have it, folks. Head over to nightspeaker.com. They say for ladies to find your knight in shining armor. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
I'll take them all.
look for the knight in the wordsmith armor, baby, because that's what this man is right here, folks. So check out all the stuff that's going to be in the show notes. Pick up both copies of his books and his future books, indeed. So that way you too can have a life and business that rocks indeed. It'll be rock solid. Heck, even rocks harder than the classic Chevy commercials, baby. That's right,
Yes,
indeed.
even more than that. I'm on it, my friend. Rock on.
Yes, indeed. So any other parting words before we close up shop, my friend?
No, I like I said, I'm just really thrilled to be on the show. I know I went back and listened to a lot of those episodes, and you've got a great journey ahead of you, and a really good past as well. So I really dig the heritage, and I'm liking your future, and I'm just glad to be a part of it, my friend.
To solidify your status as a champion, be sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave a great 5-star review on iTunes, and share with someone that you care about and that would enjoy this content too. Keep being a fabulous, super special, awesome human for making it this far, and I hope you enjoy the next episode just as much.